I'm Karin. Welcome to my world. This is fourth and I expect last part in how I came to change from being a very linear, three-dimensional person for the first 40 years of my life into the multi-dimensional way I view the world now. And I had some really intense years around 2012 where I evolved very fast. I was relearning things I knew, I felt, and doing a lot of things that made me seem very confused and very ungrounded, but it worked for me. And by 2012, I felt I was pretty much done. I had things figured out now, I had them in place. And I stopped sharing, I stopped talking pretty much, and I just lived my life. And every once in a while, I would get a new epiphany or a new understanding of how things interconnect. But I don't call it anything anymore. It doesn't have a box. There's no healing modality, there's no technique, there's no nothing. There's just me and how I see the world. I feel like I am connected to a gigantic database, like an esoteric internet or something. The way information usually comes to me is that I phrase a question, mostly like, I wonder why. And I've learned to be very careful of that because honestly, I don't always want to know why. So the I wonder why triggers for me information, and it just pops up in my head. And I know. And this may not be information that resonates with other people, but for me, I know that that resonates with my truth and the way I see things. One of the things that happened in the years after I trained as a regression therapist was that with all my working with energy, all my clearing of my own issues, all my healing, I kept that up for 15 years. I never stop. I'm always trying to clear stuff off of myself and obtain better balance. But what happened somewhere along the way was that I was able to trace these other lives without a trance, which can be both super cool and not so cool. But it means that one of the many things that is part of my multidimensional world is being connected to my other lives. And sometimes I forget that it was not in this body, that I was a Native American roaming the hills among Tamalpais in San Francisco, and I feel like I'm connected and related to other Native American Indian tribes. If you look at me, no, it was not this time. It might have been some other time, but not this time. This time I'm fully Scandinavian. There's no escaping that. So it has some interesting things, and I will talk more about other lives and how I use them and what I can't use them for at another time. I can do the same for anyone. I mean, I can trace anyone's life. Basically, the information is there to read. It's just not in 3D. It's in the DNA. The DNA is 12-stranded. We only see the two in 3 dimensions. That's crayon work. You can pick it up if you like. But it seems like I'm able to read the DNA of any person. So I get a lot of information, if I care to, about what their issues are, why their issues are, what past life would connect to that, what they could work on to heal it if they want to. But basically, also, one of the reasons why I stopped trying is that I find in very many cases, people don't really want to change. This is another topic I've talked about, but people want someone to heal them. They don't really want them to heal them. They want someone else to do it. Most people I find, and blessed be them, you don't have to do anything, but most people I find don't really want to take the responsibility for the changes that they need to make themselves to change their lives. And I'm too impatient. I don't have the patience to sit and hear someone tell the same story week after week, and you give them the tools, you do the healing. Next week they haven't moved a fraction. You do it over and over every week, month after month, and you do it often, mostly, because you have an exchange of money. You have an exchange of energy, you have an exchange of money. Someone comes to me, a client pays me money, I give them my energy and information. And I am the kind of person who needs to be free to come and go as I like. That my independence is hugely strong streak throughout my whole life. And I don't do well in settings where I can't just leave when it doesn't make sense to me anymore. So there are many reasons why I apparently have a lot of abilities that people could be impressed by and also could find useful. But I have not tried to make a living off it because it just does not make sense to me. I also keep shifting how I see things, and I feel more like a newspaper, an information booth. I feel like I'm someone that like the tourist information in the city. You come to a new city, you go to the tourist information, and you ask, okay, so what's around here instead? Well, what's your interest? What do you like to look at? And I give out some information, I give out some brochures, and then people leave, and it's up to them what they want to use it for. I need to not be invested in how they use it because it's their choice, and it would just upset me if I got too personally involved in their choices. I don't really want to do that. So I give out information to anyone who approaches me. Anyone has a question, I give an answer, and they can take it or leave it. Anyone asks me for help, I try to help the way I can, but I have not made a business of it. I have not made an income of it because I felt that that way I would not be free to leave if we got stuck. Offering my help freely to only a very limited number of people, I feel that I give it out of just because I want to, which also means that if it doesn't make sense to me anymore, if I feel they're not going anywhere, or I just need a break from whatever they're in, I can just not do it anymore. If my rent depends on that, I have to keep working in ways that might not resonate with me. I feel and hope that somewhere in the future I will be able to help more people. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this YouTube presentations now, because I've had gentle shoves and a couple of kicks as well in my butt about starting to get out there. The times are changing. That maybe more people will need my take of things, or at least some of it. That the world is evolving, the vibration is going up, young people are coming in, they see things differently, they're much more multidimensional. There's so many changes happening, and sometimes I get incredibly frustrated because I have so much information. I am a walking database. Ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. I have so much to share and so much to give. And I haven't, because I don't know how to do that. I have not found the venue, I've not found the ways to give and share this information. So that's really why I'm using this YouTube. But people who hang around me in daily life will hear me say strange things like, oh, I just programmed my body to make antibodies against this or that. Or I changed the clock, for how old I'm gonna get. I just listened to Cryon channeling, and that makes sense. I realized, yeah, that's cool. I've been doing that for a couple of years. Interesting. And I'll say really weird stuff, but I'll still shop in the supermarket. I'll still go and drink coffee. So it's 80% boring and 20% weird. But I'll keep sharing information that I have through this channel, at least for now, and leave it out there for whomever needs it. And still wonder that it took me 40 years to push that lid off the box, but I think it was probably a good thing. I think I would have been too overwhelmed, as some kids I know, or some adults were when they were kids, if the whole universe had opened up to me when I was a child. I think I had enough to deal with, and it was probably a good thing for me that all I could see was 3D. I do appreciate being able to see broader pictures now, to have this amazing database. It's a true gift to me. I do absolutely love that I have it, and I hope I get to share more of it. But I think I'm glad that I lived my first 40 years in a box. Thank you for now.